The Korean War. The Korean War was, like many conflicts in the second half of the 20th century, a product of the Cold War, very much a proxy war between two world superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. Fought between South Korea, supported by the United Nations, most dominantly the United States, and North Korea, supported by China and the Soviet Union. Tensions started after the conclusion of the Second World War. Since 1910, Korea had been ruled by the Empire of Japan, but in 1945 they were defeated by the Allied powers, ending the 35-year occupation. Earlier in 1943, a meeting was held in Cairo to discuss post-war Asia. Attended by the leaders of the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Republic of China, they agreed Korea was to become free and independent. After the war, Korea came under American and Soviet occupation. The 38th parallel was to divide the two zones of occupation until the country was unified. But in 1948, as a result of growing tension between the US and the Soviet Union, elections were held and Korea was officially split into North and South, both under separate governments that were political opposites. South Korea was led by the anti-communist Syngman Rhee, and North Korea was led by the communist leader Kim Il-sung. The North remained in close ties with the Soviet Union and was in most ways still under the control of Moscow. They received considerable amounts of weapons, equipment, and training from the USSR, and an imbalance soon formed between the two Koreas as the South did not receive such support from its American ally. As both sides were discontent with the 38th parallel as a permanent border, aggression and border skirmishes became commonplace. In 1948, as agreed, the Soviet Union withdrew from North Korea, and the United States would do the same the following year. Despite being more democratic, the South was also very repressive. It undertook mass executions against suspected communist sympathizers. One example of this was in the Jeju Uprising, which saw the massacre of tens of thousands of men, women and children on the island of Jeju. In March of 1949, Kim Il-sung travelled to Moscow to seek Soviet approval for an invasion of South Korea. Initially, the Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin did not think the timing was right. Chinese communists were still fighting in China, American forces were still stationed in South Korea, and Stalin did not want to get embroiled in a war with the US. But by spring of 1950, the situation had changed. The Soviet Union had detonated its first nuclear bomb, the Chinese Revolution had concluded in a communist victory, US forces had left South Korea, and Stalin had calculated that the US would be less inclined to fight in Korea. Stalin approved the idea but made it clear that Soviet troops would not engage in combat to avoid direct war with the United States. Instead, he requested that Mao, the communist leader of China, have his forces prepared to intervene if North Korea required military assistance. China, desperately in need of the military and economic support promised by the Soviet Union, agreed to the request. Now that Kim Il-sung had won Chinese and Soviet support, invasion plans accelerated. The Soviet Union sent its most experienced generals to North Korea to complete the invasion plans for the operation. By June of 1950, these plans were complete and the North Korean army was ready to invade. Next up, we have the Korean War Order of Battle. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this.